Haha, good thing you've got your smarts, Poindexter. I've got the other thing.
With your brains and my laser focus.
How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? And when has she ever returned the favor?
I'm selfish. I'm selfish, Stanley? How can you say that after costing me my dream school?
What? I spent 30 years trying to bring you back into this dimension, and you still haven't thanked me!
I'm not trying to stir up any bad memories here, but I want you to think, what was your sibling relationship like? Well, that's if you had one. Did you know only 88% of people in America have siblings? And according to psychologists, there are 5 types of sibling relationships. We have the best friends, very close, can talk for hours, and are with each other through thick and thin. Secondly, we have the rivals. They're always trying to one-up each other. Next, we have the caretaker and the protected. The estranged, which means they have fallen out or grown apart completely. And then finally, the indifferent. While they still may care about each other, they're not priority in each other's lives. The reason I bring this up is because as much as we love Gravity Falls for its mystery and its charm, beneath the surface is really a tale about sibling therapy. You see, by the end of the show, we have 2 main sets of siblings. Dipper and Mabel, Stanford and Stanley. And if you think about it, it can't get any more sibling related than twins. It's estimated only 1 in 250 pregnancies results in twins naturally. I mean, what's more bonded than sharing a womb with a person for 9 months? Even though the Pines family twins aren't identical twins share the same exact DNA, with the only differences being personality. Even when you look at twins in mythology. Have you heard of the story of Castor and Pollux? One of Greek mythology's famous set of twins. During a battle, Castor, being mortal, was killed. Heartbroken at the death of his brother, Pollux prayed to Zeus to make Castor immortal, which meant Pollux would have to give up half of his immortality. Eventually, Zeus agreed to the request. And so Castor and Pollux were transformed into the Gemini constellations. And once again, it fits the twin bond Gravity Falls is going for, because we all know Dipper is nicknamed after the acne marks that shape like the Big Dipper, and how Mabel is always wearing her star favorite sweater. If we take a look at twins in modern media, they're often cast as 2 halves of the same whole, sharing a bond that's deeper than ordinary siblings, or even seen as fierce rivals. You see, in the episode The Tale of Two Stans, we get a little backstory on what the Pine twins' life was like. And honestly, we could sum it up like this.
Those were the good times. Those bullies may have been right about us not making many friends, but when push comes to shove, you only really need one. Ford's brains seem to get more impressive every year, and so did our pet project. Sure, I got in more than my fair share of trouble, but when your brother's the smartest kid in school, you've always got a leg up on the competition. The future was looking bright, for both of us. Until one day.
You see, when Stan realized he was going to go to a big school and potentially make a lot of money, while overhearing this, Stanley gets sad. A lot of people can think that this was jealousy. By accidentally destroying his machine, I think we can look at this as another viewpoint. Honestly, I think this is a strong case of separation anxiety in siblings. This is commonly seen in foster care and adoption scenarios and can result in loneliness, isolation, and increased sibling rivalry. You see, this is exactly what happens when Dipper gets offered to stay and learn with Stanford, leaving Mabel behind.
Hey, are you okay?
Tell me it's not true, Dipper. Tell me you were joking. Ford's apprentice? Seriously?
Look, I was thinking, and this is a huge opportunity for me.
Well, it's a horrible opportunity for me. I had the worst day of my life. When we turn 13, the summer ends and I have to leave everything behind. You're the only person I could count on, and now you're leaving me too?
You see, one key word we keep hearing about is selfishness. It's also how Bill tricked Dipper into possessing him. In the new book of Bill, we see every other universe where Dipper and Mabel failed, and I believe it stems from them falling into their selfish nature. And could you blame them? Once again, making them twins is just pure genius. See, one of twins' biggest emotional issue is finding individuality. I can imagine sharing countless birthdays, even the same face could get tiring for some. This is why when it's seen that you have twins, you have 2 drastically different personality traits. And I like how the writers made it very clear that Mabel and Dipper are literally parallels of the older Pine twins.
Haha, good thing you've got your smarts, Poindexter. I've got the other thing.
With your brains and my laser focus.
One of the standalone differences between both sets of twins is that one set of twins never had to deal with the comparisons. Y'all know that saying of how comparison is the thief of joy. Not all the times, but majority. If you come from a big family or you have older siblings or cousins, you're gonna get compared. You see, when you ask Google comment parent phrases, this is a standard one that likes to pop up. Well, your older brother and sister were doing blank at your age. Why can't you do the same? This kind of statement often implies expectations based on older siblings' achievements or behaviors, not realizing that everyone is different and some people process things different than others. See, because after Stanley realizes what Stanford did, their parents get involved.
You did what, you knucklehead?
Stanley, what's going on in here?
Wait, no, I can explain. It was a mistake.
You ignoramus. Your brother was gonna be our ticket out of this dump. All you ever do is lie and cheat and ride on your brother's coattails. Well, this time you cost our family potential millions. And until you make us a fortune, you're not welcome in this household. What?
You see, this rude awakening for Stan brings up another interesting topic that comes into relationships with siblings. You ever thought to yourself, does my parent have a favorite child? Well, what if I told you 40% of Americans who grew up with siblings report that their parents had a favorite child? 60% say they do not believe that their parents had a favorite child. But when we look at the statistics, a study published by the Journal of Family Psychology found 74% of moms and 70% of dads reported preferential treatment towards one child. I really shouldn't have to go into too much detail with this, but I'm pretty sure you can guess being treated differently by a parent, whether it's real or perceived, is one of the most consistent reasons for sibling rivalry and competition. And even near the end of Gravity Falls, this is still something Stan struggles with.
Dad was right about me. I am a screw-up.
Now, the title of this video is Sibling Therapy, so you're probably wondering, where does the therapy part actually start?
How did things get so messed up between us?
We used to be like Dipper and Mabel. The world's about to end and they still work together. How do they do it?
Easy. They're kids. They don't know any better.
I disagree. I think that Dipper and Mabel picked up something sooner rather than later that the older Pine twins didn't figure out. And it's nothing too crazy, it's just simply communication. If we take a look at Dipper and Mabel's biggest fights, one thing that they always did was communicate with each other very willly, but also consider how their one actions could affect the next one.
But if we don't go, then I'll lose Waddles forever! Hey!
One ball, please.
You only get one chance.
And a one, and a two, and a
Hey, Wendy, are you okay? You know, this is the perfect time for me to ask you something.
It is done.
Dipper! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you!
There it is. I mean, who would sacrifice everything they've worked for just for their dumb sibling?
Dipper would.
Huh?
Mabel, I thought you were living a fantasy, but look at me. I actually thought I was going to stay here and be Ford's apprentice. Spend my entire teens cooped up in a basement with a lab coat? How ridiculous is that? I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but whatever it is, you don't have to fear because we'll do it together.
From what we've seen so far, this is a level of communication that isn't really displayed between Stan and Stanley. If we take another look at both of the conversations both Stans had, we can each point out where they went wrong.
Hey, what's the word, Sixer?
Can you explain what this was doing next to my broken project?
Okay. I might have accidentally been horsing around.
This was no accident, Stan. You did this. You did this because you couldn't handle me going to college on my own.
Look, it was a mistake. Although if you think about it, maybe there's a silver lining. Huh? Treasure hunting?
For starters, his response showed lack of accountability. Instead of owning up to his extreme action, he just tries to play it off nicely. Finally, instead of pounding around, he should have just expressed himself prior to Ford. I doubt this would have changed Ford's decision, but at least he would have got it out in the air. Kinda like how Mabel expressed her opinions to Dipper. Now I want you to keep in mind that Stan hasn't seen his brother since their falling out, and when he finally gets enough courage to see his brother again, instead of a warm welcome, he's welcomed with an arrow to the face.
I have something to ask of you. Remember our plans to sail around the world on a boat? Take this book, get on a boat, and sail as far away as you can, to the edge of the earth. Bury it where no one can find it.
For starters, there was no warm welcome or a catch-up, and he immediately asked for a big favor. This is the equivalent of not seeing somebody for a long time and then you immediately ask for money, instead of checking in on how they've been. Fast forward 30 years where he saves him, he gets treated like this.
But when the summer's over, you give me my house back, you give me my name back, and this Mystery Shack junk is over forever. You got it?
You really aren't gonna thank me, are you? Fine, on one condition. You stay away from the kids. I don't want them in danger. Because as far as I'm concerned, they're the only family I have left.
I still want to take the time to mention that both of their feelings are valid even when they were young and still while they're old. Everyone handles traumatic experiences very differently. For some, it's way easier to forgive than others. You could be a person that doesn't forgive very easily and could spend a lot of time resenting someone for their actions towards you, and I couldn't blame you. Like, if we're being honest, someone causing you to miss out on your dream school could be a lifelong grudge. And it would be even worse if Stanford never achieved the success that he actually did. And I wouldn't be mad if Stanley decided to be mad at his brother for the rest of his life for being disowned by his family. One thing that I feel like went over a lot of people's heads is how sad Grunkle Stan's life had to be. Stan faking his death to try to bring his brother back had a really sad reality. The only people to come to his funeral was his mom and an IRS agent. And since he was presumed dead, this means Stan probably missed his own parents' funeral. This for anyone can result in lifelong trauma. And their relationship in the end got resolved only because of Dipper and Mabel's relationship.
It's the only way!
Oh, even when you're about to die, you Pines twins just can't get along.
I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for the kids being in mortal danger, their bond would have never got back together.
Why isn't this working?
Hey, look at me. Turn around and look at me, you one-eyed demon! You're a real wise guy, but you made one fatal mistake. You messed with my family.
And this ending isn't unrealistic at all, because in some cases, not a lot, a death in a family or near-life serious event could also bring families together. And hey, by the end, Mabel and Dipper's bond got stronger, and lastly, the Pine brothers finally got a chance to do what they dreamt to do as kids. But before I go, I would like to end with this quote. There is no love without forgiveness, and there is no forgiveness without love. I want to thank everybody that made it to the end of this video, and also thank you for 6,000 subscribers. It really means a lot to me. This has been Media Munchies. Peace.